We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Azar here. Welcome to our Inside Scoop Monday night. Glad to be back with you. We have an incredible show this evening. Without further ado, let me tell you about my very good friend, Amy here, part of the Council of the Arts of Herndon. Wow. I mean, first of all, full disclosure, I've contributed. I'm a contributing member. But tell us why you got involved with this great organization.
Well, I joined as a member 3 years ago with Council for the Arts of Herndon, and my sister, Anna Bledsoe, was actually a member, and she was very heavily involved in volunteering with all the different programs, the hands-on art for the kids with the Herndon Festival. And,
very active.
And a lot of the other programs that she became interested in through friends who had children that were involved. So, and that's how I became involved 3 years ago.
It's a great organization.
Yes,
it really
is. It really is.
So tell us a little bit how you got to be here as a person talking, because I know we've asked.
I know, and thank you so much for inviting me onto the show, and I really appreciate that. And I'm excited to be here because there's so many things that go unknown in the community and the arts community, and Herndon has grown amazingly. Even over the last 3 years, I've seen it evolve and develop. And with the Council for the Arts, and what they do mostly is that the programs they're involved in are for the students and the children, the residents of the town of Herndon. And so, but they do have other programs like their Tech Arts program, which is for high school students in Fairfax County that can apply for those. And so the scholarships, and that's really, for me, I've seen it myself and been out involved in the community, and the arts and the music, and it's just the community itself. It's just an amazing thing. The people involved.
The contributions to scholarships, I've seen it grow over the years.
Yes, it has.
It's not just like Herndon. It's like the greater Northern Virginia, Fairfax area,
That's true. That's true.
That's awesome.
My sister and I actually went down. We were advocating for the arts down at the state capitol. We met with legislators.
Oh, great.
And that was an amazing thing to stabilize the funding, to make sure that they didn't take any more funding away from us.
Yeah, that's kind of important. We talk about, science and all the STEM stuff, but it's really STEAM, right? I saw that somewhere.
That's right.
Right?
Well, the arts make it exciting, and it's fun, and it's, with music and the performing arts and, just the photography and some of the talent that these children have that would go unnoticed unless they received the scholarships or they had the opportunities. And that's what the donations through the Council for the Arts of Herndon does. And we were awarded a grant from the NEA, the National Endowment for the Arts, and we're really excited about that.
That was a big deal too, if I remember, right?
Yes, yes. So we applied for the grant, and then we received it, and that $10,000 will go towards
We've got a bunch of other contributions going on, right? I mean, that's just like one of many.
Yes, it's one. Yes, one of many. We've given out like $20,000 worth of scholarships for performing arts, for visual arts, for students in.
And it's totally funded, right, by the generosity.
It is. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization.
Now, one of the coolest ones. I mean, Herndon has had this sort of vibrant sort of spring over the last couple of years in terms of what they're doing. Couple murals around town, if people don't know. Talk about those.
That's right, the pet mural, and it's at the Dominion Veterinary Hospital.
Right.
And the donations for Keith Naquin is our artist that we invited to actually do the artwork, which is amazing. That people should go out to see it. It's very impressive, but it's also exciting because the people that made the donations, it's their pets that are there on the wall.
That is, to me, one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
It is. It's beautiful too.
Yeah, it's just really, really cool. What are some of the other things that you're working on for maybe this year and following on?
We have a lot of very exciting things that are coming up. We're partnering with Jimmy Cerrito of Jimmy's Old Town Tavern.
Sure.
He does so much outreach for the area too.
He really does, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah. There's a golf tournament that's coming up July 30th, and we still need sponsors for that. And you can check and look at that if you want to donate or volunteer for herndonarts.org, and all the information will be there on our website. And you can click and select on any one of the programs or the upcoming events. But that's really going to be an all-day event and exciting, and it does bring in a lot of money.
And that fills up pretty fast, doesn't it?
It does, yes. I mean, there's still sponsors. You can still donate money now, but
do they actually play golf? That's my.
They do play golf. Yes, they do, and he's out playing golf with them.
Okay,
So.
good. Yeah, I've been.
It's a fun event.
Yeah, I've volunteered a couple of those. don't remember anyone playing a lot of golf.
There's a lot of fun that
Yeah.
happens out there, but there's also a lot of charitable donations, and that's something too that we appreciate and the students do too.
Awesome. What about for next year? Any like big projects?
Well, we
going
do
on?
have, there's a few more things this year. We have Arts Week that's coming up October 12th through the 15th, and we'll have an all-day booth for the kids to do arts, but also last year we had a musician that came in and had helped, by giving a concert for the kids. And so the NEA gave us their grant of $10,000 for the Big Read, and
Right.
this is the book Bless Me, Ultima.
Saw that. Yeah.
By
I think someone was
Rodolfo.
translating that into Spanish, I
Anaya.
think, or something.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's
That
exciting.
is
Yes.
amazing.
So, and then this is something that the entire community can get involved in, and it's really the idea and why they gave the grant was it's their program, and they want to have the community come together, and like the idea of a book club with a lot of friends that get together. But this is something that the whole community can come together to do, to read the same book, and opens for discussions, and there'll be different places that they'll have events that will be associated with that Big Read too. But the big one is we have our 30th anniversary this year, and
Oh, wow.
October 3rd to mark the calendars, because we have our gala, and it's a very exciting night. Lisa Merkel will be there, our mayor. She'll be
Mayor Merkel. Okay.
Mayor Merkel.
Okay.
She'll be kicking things off for us, and
Oh,
we'll
I
have.
gotta be there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And we have an auction of items and so many wonderful donations, and really amazing.
Wow.
Really amazing.
Okay.
Things that are there to be purchased through auction. And Bad Influence Band will be playing that night for us live, and they're an amazing blues band. And we'll have an outdoor dance floor.
And this is going to be where now?
At the
Location?
municipal building there
Okay.
in Herndon, downtown Herndon.
Sure.
And so we've got that coming up, yes.
Herndon's happening. Wow.
It is happening.
I don't even know what's going on.
It's
I live
exciting.
there. So, yeah. So what?
Yes.
What are some of the other things that are going to be like, challenging, or I mean, what are some of the hurdles you guys? Obviously, you need a lot of volunteers, a lot of.
We
donations,
do.
so-
Through a lot of the different programs, the one that we have, Percussion Works, is where Laura Reddy-Off of the Music Loft, she goes into the schools and she brings drums in, and the kids can play with those drums, and who doesn't like to pound on a 5-gallon drum, to get this
sure.
sound. And a lot of the parents and the families are the ones that come out to volunteer at all of these different programs and events that we have, and they're the ones that are really supporting it and making donations, but they're physically there. We have a beer booth at the Herndon Festival, and that's a large fundraiser for us.
It was a big fundraiser, wasn't it?
It was a big
Yeah.
fundraiser, and a lot of a lot of beer was purchased,
Sure.
and the community came out and really supported us in our booth. And the women and men that were there not only are members, through the Council for the Arts, but they're also, just town members that wanted to be a part of something that was bigger than themselves.
Yeah, I've also seen where folks will recycle instruments and that whole.
Yes, Play It Forward, and
that's
then
it.
we do, so that the Play It Forward is really where I became involved hands-on, as I was a member before, and I was invited to this benefit at Jimmy's Old Town Tavern where they had the instruments, and I donated one of my mandolins.
Oh,
and
wow.
so for them to refurbish it, and then they take those instruments out, and the community can donate instruments. They can donate money or funds to do that too, but the instruments themselves are given back to the students there in Herndon schools.
Yeah.
And so it's really, for me, I came in just to make a donation, and I ended up emceeing, the event, and it was just a lot of fun. I met some interesting people.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's one of the best sort of use of people's like old equipment. I mean, just don't let it sit in your closet.
They did. A lot of the students, the children that have moved on and gone on to college and they've left home, or even the musicians, and we know Herndon has a lot of musicians that are very involved in just performing around town, but it's nice that they came forward and donated, guitars and clarinets and some horns too.
Now, Herndon's got this sort of like long-term plan with the whole arts facility, art space, and 5, 10, 20 years out.
Yes.
That'd be really cool to have like a nice performing arts center there, and
We're very optimistic, and
Yeah.
it depends, on the donations that we receive and
It's
the
all
people that
about
are involved. So
donations, right,
people
right.
can go to herndonarts.org and sign up, donate, volunteer, become a member of the Council for the Arts of Herndon, and join in and be a part of something, you know, that's growing and continuing to grow.
Now, as far as information or email, I mean, is it info? What's the website? Or
that's herndonarts.org, and they can get, you know, the information about the programs, but also they can contact the council directly through that website. Yes.
Well, that's, I mean, for me, I think that's one of the big things that Herndon has going for it.
Yes, it does.
The whole arts facility.
It is. I've grown up here my whole life, and seeing the development and the changes that have occurred really within the community and the life of a community and of the town of Herndon really is the people.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, this is something we have to continue to get donors on. We got a lobby in the county, right?
Yes. So I'm meeting with business owners.
Excuse me.
And to see what they want, you know, to contribute or how they want to become involved.
So when is the big, next year's the big budget push for the ask for the Board of Supervisors? That's sometime in April, is it? Or like everyone goes down there and
Yes,
lobbies?
I believe so. That's right.
So
yes.
we got to talk to the Board of Supervisors, get more donors, get a lot more folks involved.
Yes, I hope so.
So what else are you working on these days, just in your spare time? This seems to be taking
In
up a
my
lot
I'm a writer and a stand-up comedian, so I've become a little more involved in my own as a performer. But this really, for myself, has been really where my focus has been in trying to get donations, you know, and meet with the businesses around Herndon and Fairfax and, you know, in the other cities that are bordering Herndon to get them involved just to donate.
Is there some collaboration with like the surrounding areas that or should there be in terms of?
I believe there is, and I know there's been a lot of networking that's been happening, which is wonderful. And I think that through the board themselves and then also through the members, that's been, you know, the word of mouth and just some of the different events and the scholarships, you know, have been a draw.
Well, I tell you, I'm really glad you came on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to talk about the council.
It's a great cause. I mean, I've been involved, you know, on the outer side, not like you, but you know, trying to get folks in the know to kind of get a little bit more involved and have a stake. But I think again, it's a great cause. I think it does reach a lot of kids that, quite frankly, aren't exposed to the arts just through the outreach. So, folks, we're going to be back here again with our next guest, but I want to thank Amy and the Council of the Arts for coming on and talking to us.
Saving for retirement might be easy for some folk, but for others, it might take a little more work. And for those who haven't started, there are still things you can do to catch up.
Oh, that is good news.
Like getting out from underneath past debt. And don't get wrapped up with high-interest credit cards.
Get you some eyes.
Be diversified with your investments. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Your financial goals are not out of reach. The choice is clear. For a happy ending, choose to save.
Everyone with alcohol and drug addiction is in the same boat. With treatment, you can find solid ground. For drug and alcohol information and treatment referral for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Dude, are you sure you want this tattoo? Because just do it.
Some mistakes in life are permanent. Like hearing loss. To learn how to protect your hearing, visit ASHA.org.
You've probably heard about heart disease, but did you know that it's the #1 killer of women nationwide? Heart disease claims more lives each year than breast cancer, lung cancer, or strokes combined. But there are steps you can take to protect yourself against it. For more information on how you can prevent heart disease, contact your local American Heart Association or visit their website at www.americanheart.org.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Hi folks, Cesar here, back with you with our next segment. Thanks for joining us. My next guest is a dear friend of mine, Larry King. He is representing a great group, Opera Nova. Sir, thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. For the folks that don't know Opera Nova, tell us a little bit about it. I think it's a wonderful organization.
Okay. Opera Nova was founded in 1992. I joined it about 5 years ago. It's an organization that was designed specifically to introduce children to opera,
sure,
to introduce especially those children who were from low income or disadvantaged neighborhoods.
Sure.
And then it also had a desire to try to bring minorities into the opera world. And so we use Opera Nova to introduce artists who are Latino, who are African American, who normally would not find leading roles in opera, and try to give them a stage, a platform to perform on.
I think that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons I got involved, certainly
right,
because I knew you had a very compelling story. But again, thank you for joining us tonight. Tell us a little bit about what you're focused on this year and maybe next year. I know you've got some events coming up and so forth.
Well, our last opera was the Magic Flute,
right,
and that's by Mozart, and it was designed specifically to perform it so that children, because it's so light and it has so much, it appeals to children, mm-hmm, and it had so much mystery and drama and everything, which all opera does. Mm-hmm. But we wanted to bring children in to that, and they really, really enjoyed it. And now this year we're going to do in November the Barber of Seville, okay, which is by Rossini, mm-hmm, and then we will do in March of next year. We'll do Tremonisha, which is the first American opera, which is written by Scott Joplin of the fame of the Sting. Mm. And he's ragtime, and he wrote a beautiful opera. Mm-hmm. And most people have never heard it or know about it. And when it was written, no one even knew about that minorities were even interested in opera, sure, or wanted to have minorities in opera. And he wrote it, and it never got recognition until some of the minority colleges decided that they were going to perform it. And then the Dallas Opera Society brought it, put it on. And then it's been done here at Wolf Trap. Dingwall Fleary did it, and it's been done. It's being done more, but we're really trying to expose it to the world and let people know that this is our first American opera, and it's a beautiful opera.
No, I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just by the way, full disclosure, you sing a little bit too, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, maybe at the end we'll get you. First of all, I think what I love so much about it is the outreach to the children that may not have the opportunity.
Right.
You know, I think that's a beautiful
thing.
But
that's the thing that really inspired me to get involved with Opera Nova. The National Society of the Arts and the national foundations, which Michelle Obama was very active in the research on, did a great study on children and the arts, sure, because arts was going out of the schools so rapidly. And we found out that students who had arts programs, right, especially fine arts programs, were really those students who excelled in the school, and those students who had the poise and the confidence and wanted to get ahead and wanted to do things. I remember when I was going to school, they used to say, if you listen to classical music while you're studying, it will help you. And I really found that it did. It really is a wonderful thing. And to watch these young people as they go into an opera, and we bus those children to the opera. We get grants from different local organizations to help the children to go to the opera, to bus them. We do everything except provide the chaperones. Those usually come from the schools. And we bring those children to the opera, and when they leave, they're really enthralled with it. They really feel like that's something they might be really interested in. And the one thing about opera, it has acting, it has singing, it has dancing, it has all the arts, and and it has music, orchestration that is so beautiful, and it brings it all into one piece. So the children really get to be involved and get excited about it. There's a group, and this is how I really found out about Opera Nova. There's a group called, that puts on a performance called the Emerging Artist Program, and it's headed up by Darnell Lightbourne, and it's produced by the Millennium Seat Pleasant Club of the National Capital Area of it's a National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women. And they do a program each year to find minorities who can sing opera. And I have been a promoter of that. And now I've been an adjudicator, and in some years, next year I think it will be, that I will be the MC for that. But that's it's a wonderful program, and it's so well organized, and it does wonderful things about introducing the, people to opera, and they do it in local churches. And it's wonderful. It's really good. I'm just glad that there is a group. There are people within this area. I come from the Midwest, who really are interested in the arts and introducing their families to the arts, especially the young people.
Well, I imagine there's a lot of talent out there, especially in the diversity we have here in Fairfax, Northern Virginia. And it's probably not typically where you would find it. Certainly in the minority environment in those communities.
You know, there are a lot, you just never know. Like I said, I'm from the Midwest, and I remember that when I was in kindergarten, I had a teacher who was very distraught, and I said, "What's the matter?" And she told me, she called me Little Lawrence. She said, "Little Lawrence, I'm telling you, my family's coming here, and they're from Mississippi, and I don't know how I'm going to entertain them. They were coming for Thanksgiving." And I said, "Oh, just bring them to our house." And she said, "Well, I think, Little Lawrence, you'd have to talk to your mother about that." And I think she thought I wasn't going to do anything. And I went home and I talked to my mother. Well, we knew the family, the teacher's family. And so she came to the house, and she introduced her niece, who at that time we didn't know anything about, who later became the diva of the Metropolitan Opera, Leontine Price.
Wow.
So I got introduced to opera at an early age. And it's because of that I know that if children get introduced to it at an early age, they will get enthralled with it. They'll get enthused. They'll want to know more about it. They'll want to know about symphonies. They'll want to learn, you know, what happens, what do you do to do that sort of thing. I just think it's a wonderful world. Yes, it is.
So for the folks at home, we've got website information. You've got a Facebook page. Yes, you can go to www.operanova, Arlington. It's located in Arlington, Virginia. We are looking all the time for people who want to donate, who want to help these children to have bus service to the operas, and we will we'll work with you and do whatever we can. You know, we've had some wonderful people who have helped us in donating pianos and donating musical instruments and things of that nature. So we've really had a exceptional response to what we're doing. We have introduced 25,000 children to the opera since we've been in existence. Now, besides yourself, the beautiful singers that you have, what sort of people have you had perform or take part? Are these sort of regional?
They're usually people who have just graduated from college. And the thing is, with the opera, you have to, in order to be recognized as a performer, you have to sing so many leading roles. So we have we have more Latin Americans than we have any group that have been involved in it. I went to a performance with the Asian Club in Bethesda, and Opera Nova did a portion of their program, and it was just fantastic. And I didn't realize there was such a large Asian opera-loving community and active opera performances. And they had a young orchestra that was made up of young people who, they sounded just professional. They were so good. You know, you just don't realize all the talent that's out there. And it's so good because they don't really get a chance now. Like when I went to school, to have all of that, to be able to be involved in the arts.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. I mean, I've attended a few of the events, and I was amazed with the people that were there, certainly participating, but supporting it. And that's why when I asked you to come on, I really wanted you to kind of enlighten the audience and the folks that there is a very, very special organization here with Opera Nova and the good that you're doing. And for me, the thing I saw that was most powerful was the diversity of the folks there. And for me, that was like the image, you know, going forward.
Our opera director is from is Jose Cecin, and he is Latin American. I think he's from Peru, but he's exceptional. He is just exceptional. He does wonderful things with students, and he works with the not only Opera Nova but George Mason University.
So again, the folks have the website. They got information.
Right.
We're going to put your contact information up there. Any last few thoughts as we close out this session?
No. I just want to say thank you. It's a pleasure to be able to have some place to come and speak about it.
Oh, are you kidding? I was so thankful that you agreed to come on. I hope this is not the last time we have you on either, because I know this is a great cause, and I'd like to maybe get you back on.
Okay.
But maybe sing a little bit for us next time, Larry, because you got a beautiful voice. I've heard it.
All right.
Is that a deal?
That's a deal.
Well, so we're going to get you back on here. Absolutely. Folks, stick around. Again, many thanks to my good friend Larry here. Great organization, Opera Nova, and I hope you check it out. Our next segments, we're going to switch, so be back here in a little bit. Thank you again.
This is firstgov.gov, where we're obsessed with getting you government information.
Brand new student loan applications on the site, baby. This calls for a celebration. Where's your uncle?
So in the end, it was either take the astronaut gig or come work here. What can I say? Duty called.
Dude, that's my cop.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure that's Sam's cop.
Oh, sorry?
Yeah. No. Sam's? No.
Just log on or email us and get what you need.
C, change of address form. That's how it's done.
D, driver's license renewal.
E, emailing Social Security information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice, we'll allow it. All right, Ed. What are those?
Government surplus cars for auction.
You posted those online last time.
No, you did.
I'm posting them online this time.
For all your government information, firstgov.gov.
Oh, what have we got here? Sometimes you feel tired. You can't seem to lose those extra pounds off your midsection. And your joints hurt when you take the stairs? Well, you're getting older. But I'm happy to say that there's some simple things we can do to keep you happy and healthy for years to come. We can also lower your risk for some serious diseases the older population is often subject to. Proper nutrition is more important than ever. Your body has changed, you know. Not as many treats. A basic exercise plan, lots of walks and fresh air. And most importantly, come and see me for twice-yearly checkups to help ensure the best possible quality of life. Now, how does that sound? Good boy.
Improve the quality of life for your elderly pet. Schedule twice-yearly checkups that include preventive care and regular lab work. The message from the veterinary members of the American Animal Hospital Association.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Hi folks, Cesar here, back with our next guest. I wanted to introduce you to, we've got some members, candidates running for the school board, and I think it's going to be an interesting election here. Obviously, if you're not aware, Virginia, we have elections every year. Obviously up for election this year, our school board positions. Ladies, Dahlia and Karen, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Dahlia, start with you. Just a real quick introduction to the folks out there.
Sure. Cesar, my name's Dahlia Palchik. I was born in Argentina and grew up here in Fairfax. I'm a graduate of Mantua, Frost, and TJ. And now I have been teaching languages for several years. I teach Spanish and French, and I am running for the school board.
Okay, good.
Thank you. My name is Karen Keys-Gamar. I'm running for school board in the Sully District. I am an attorney, a mother of 3 children, 2 of whom, all 3 are attending Fairfax County Public Schools, and I work as a guardian ad litem to protect the best interests of children.
Awesome. And in full disclosure, I think I may have contributed to your campaigns. I'm not sure if I have or haven't. See me afterwards.
Okay.
Because I probably should.
Okay.
So there's a promise. So just full disclosure to the audience out there. And we
you.
invite everyone on.
Yes.
As we take the people that agree to come on to the show. So, so let's start, Karen, right up front. What made you get involved? What was that light bulb that said, I need to?
Well, it was several light bulbs, actually. It has a lot to do with the fire in my belly. What really wakes me up in the morning, as I told you, I work as a guardian ad litem. The court appoints me to represent the best interests of children. And every day I get up trying to figure out how to improve the life of a child. I go in schools every day. I work with teachers, administrators, special education folks, and so I realize what the problems are. My own children, I've had to advocate on their behalf. I remember one of my sons coming home in 1st grade. He kept asking me questions about slavery. And I thought, wow, this is very interesting. And then a light bulb really went off when he came home and he said, Mom, do I have to be a slave when I grow up? And I realized that the curriculum at school was representing African Americans as slaves. My children are of Hispanic and African American descent. And so I realized that schools should not be giving, or curriculum should not be giving limits to our children.
Yeah, this isn't Texas, right?
That's right, absolutely.
Dahlia, same sort of thing in terms of what kind of motivates you, what made you decide to kind of jump in there? Because this is not a fun thing, I can tell you, right? I mean, or maybe it is.
It's funny because people ask me that, and I was actually, my high school internship, I was taping the school board meetings. I was interning at Channel 21, and people say, oh my gosh, you sat through those meetings. I'm like, that was so cool. Like Karen, I've been working with kids since I was a kid myself, since I was 12 years old. I've been camp counselor working with students. And I love that. And I think slowly over the years, I've been trying to see, I always want to do more. And starting to see that there's so many things that are great about the system, and our schools are really world class. But more and more issues, like Karen's saying, that started to concern me. One of them being the well-being of our students, of all of them. All of our students are a very diverse community. We have students from every country in the world, and they speak more than 200 languages, and I think that's incredible.
When I did the research, it was a couple of years ago, I think I saw like 104 languages. So it's 200 now?
It's over 200, actually.
That's in Fairfax County, folks. That is amazing. I love that. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That
What's
is
really
awesome.
hard, and the thing being a teacher, is seeing that some of our best teachers are starting to leave. And I think that's when I said, okay, I can do a lot, as an advocate, but there's really so much that has to be done from the inside as a leader. And we really are. We're losing some of the best teachers, and I think we have to realize that with them will go our world-class system. So we really have to fight for the classroom and all our kids.
Interesting. So now you're each representing a district. You're not at large, right? So you're
I'm Providence.
You're
In Sully.
So I just knowing the segments, those are different districts, right? What's valued in one necessarily isn't valued in the other. What are some of the folks in Sully conveying as far as what they would like to see in?
Well, one of the things that I've really implemented in my campaign is that leadership begins with listening. So I've taken a lot of time to listen to teachers and parents and students. And a couple of things that they're concerned about, for example, would be class size. Class sizes have been raised, the number of students the ratio student per teacher has been raised 3 times since 2008. So in the elementary school levels, for example, you would typically have 22, 23 students in the lower grades. Now it's 30 or more.
Wow.
And I'm hearing teachers saying that that's creating a greater level of stress for them in terms of really being able to educate students, and parents are concerned about it as well. And we want to make sure that Fairfax County is always offering excellent education. So that would be one of the concerns that I have.
What are you hearing in Providence?
Yeah, one of the big things is, we have very high level of education, and I think we have the parents who want to make sure that we definitely are continuing to offer our advanced placement programs across the board. At the same time that we have balance for our kids. We have some schools where we've had a lot of issues around mental health, and I think we really need to focus on what that means and ensuring that our kids not only have the academic skills they need, but the life skills they need.
I look at this long term, right? When you invest in a child early, those pay off in ways you can't begin to measure.
Right.
I will throw this out there. Please raise my taxes to invest in our children. I think that's a discussion that needs to happen, because too many times I sit through some of the discussions about the fight for budget dollars. And it's always like, we're cutting. I would like to see someone take the lead, be brave, and just say, you know what, for this type of world-class education, we need X.
Right.
And I am willing to fight for X.
Well, unfortunately, the school board does not have the authority to raise taxes.
I understand that.
So we depend on the Board of Supervisors, the state, and we receive some funding from the federal level.
Who's the Board of Supervisors representative in Sully?
Fry right now.
Yeah,
Kathy Smith is.
Who's the Providence?
Linda Smith is our representative.
Okay, so we need to vote for
Kathy Smith.
Okay,
and keep Linda's running again unopposed. Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay.
And that's another big thing, Cesar, that I think definitely we want to make sure the schools are funded, that we're paying our teachers competitive salaries again, which we don't. I also think we need to grow our partnerships. Currently, only a fourth of our families have kids in schools. So we really...
Interesting,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, so when I knock on door and someone says to me, oh, well, I don't have kids in school, I say, well, this is our county. This is our number one asset. This is what keeps our housing prices up. This is what keeps our community vibrant.
Wow, that's quite I'm shocked to hear that. I always thought there was a lot.
Right, and I think that's what makes it hard every year when the budget process comes around to say we currently spend more than half of that on the schools. And I think we need to continue to fund our schools. We also have to communicate and partner, I think, a little bit more with our other government agencies, with our business community, with our retired community, people who want to help the schools and make it about all of our kids. It's not just your own personal.
Yeah, because I was having a discussion. Loudon is still fighting all-day kindergarten.
Yeah.
West Virginia has all-day kindergarten.
Right.
So Loudon needs to fix that issue.
Yeah,
I would agree.
What's some of the things that you're hearing when you're out there?
Well, obviously we're concerned about teachers receiving competitive salaries, but I'm also concerned about the retention rates, and I think that we need to really implement that policy that leadership begins with listening. That we give teachers an opportunity to give us input. What's going on in the workplace that's causing them to leave our schools? Some of our best, most experienced teachers are leaving. I don't want to see that happen.
Is there some sort of survey or exit interview?
Well, I'm hearing from teachers that there isn't really an exit interview, and
really?
I think it's difficult to implement because if people are still looking for a job, then you're very careful about what you say. But I think that's one of the things that I would really like to look at, is to implement some consistent ways that we can hear from teachers, because they're one of our most valuable assets. They're on the front line. We cannot do it without teachers.
So I'm in the IT world. In business, they have something called Glassdoor, where people can post anything about any organization department group. It's just it's anonymous or it's live, but you get that feedback so you can improve.
Absolutely.
So as an organization, I want to know what my strengths and weaknesses might be. So.
Yeah, I definitely, having the teacher voice in there, I think many of our teachers just feel that no one's asking them, how do we solve this problem? How do we attack this, how do we find a solution together? And I really think, currently there's only one teacher on that school board. And I really think that we need more educators on there to say, well, okay, we have all these great ideas, but what do the kids need? Like, they're in the front line, the teachers with the students. What do we actually need? And what are the best ways to get there? And I think getting the input in whatever ways we can do is really necessary.
Well, what are some of the challenges you see over the next few months here towards Election Day? I mean, obviously you're going to be knocking doors, making calls, raising money.
Absolutely, fundraising, getting the word out. A lot of people are concerned about issues that have come up, for example, changing the discrimination policy. And so I think that can pull the argument a little too far to the right, perhaps.
Yeah, I saw the last meeting on that. That was pretty ugly, in my opinion.
I would hope that parents, that adults could set the example of appropriate behavior and be able to agree respectfully.
But you can't listen when you're screaming. Right?
It's very difficult. But I like to implement the golden rule: do unto others as you have them do unto you. So my hope is that we can get the word out. We can get the fundraising. People can go to my website and check that out. But that's the challenge right now: just helping people to understand that. We're about listening. I'm about listening. My campaign wants to understand what those problems are. I'm out there. I'm hearing what they're saying. I really want to work on issues like high stakes testing. A lot of people are concerned about that. Prince William allows some of their lower grade children to opt out of that because it's creating a lot of stress. And I believe that we need to focus on education much more so than spending the last few months focusing on the SOLs.
And Dahlia, same sort of question.
Yeah, so I think related to the election, one of the big things I'm hoping that this will do, obviously I would love to win, but regardless, I think that getting people to be more interested and care and vote for local elections, local offices. I think it's very hard. It matters, and it matters every day, and it affects your life every single day. It's just the same that school board matters, whether or not you have kids in the school. We have all of our local and state officials up for re-election or election for the first time, and it's really hard for me to see that people kind of wait till there's a national election, and I really hope to meet as many people as possible so they can say, like someone said the other day, now I have a reason to vote.
Your website again?
Yes, DahliaForSchoolBoard.com, and that's Dahlia, DALIA.
Website?
Karen for Fairfax Schools at oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the address of it. Karen for Fairfax Schools at help me.
At help me? Actually, we have the logos
yes,
up. So
put it up.
Great.
Yeah.
Folks, we'll be back for the fourth and final segment. I want to thank my guests for coming on. We'll have them on again before the next election. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Some dreams are universal. Dreams that inspire us. Multiple sclerosis is a devastating disease that changes lives forever. The National MS Society does more for people with MS than any organization in the world. But we can't do it alone. To get involved, visit us online at nationalmssociety.org or call 1-800-FIGHT-MS. This is why we're here. Because nobody dreams of having multiple sclerosis.
What's wrong with this picture? Half of young Americans can't locate economic powers like Japan and India. 20% can't even find the Pacific Ocean. Without geography, our children aren't ready for the world. Geography is everywhere. It's incredible creatures, rhythm, fashion, flavor. It's economics and politics. It's change. Understanding connections between people and places is critical in the 21st century. That's why we created mywonderfulworld.org. Go there now for your free parent and teacher action kits and give our kids the power of global knowledge. Because kids who understand our world today can succeed in it tomorrow.
Hi folks, welcome back for our final segment. Tonight my final guest is Joanna Garcia, good friend of mine. She's running for the delegate House of Delegate District 42. I understand she grew up in a working class family and after high school decided to serve her country. God bless her. She enlisted in the Navy. She worked her way up to become a commissioned officer, and Joanna was honored with multiple awards for distinguished service. She served in the Persian Gulf War in '97 and later during the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. She retired after 2 decades of service and settled in Fairfax Station with her husband Mike and their 2 boys in 2008. That is pretty good as far as I can tell. I mean, Joanna, thank you so much for joining me this evening and welcome.
Thank you, Cesar. I appreciate that.
So why'd you decide to run? I mean, you've got it made, you've got it good. What compelled you?
I do, actually. I decided that right now the incumbent does not, in my opinion, represent the district. I am a Hispanic woman veteran, and in the House of Delegates right now, there's only 1 Hispanic. There are 19 veterans, and I believe 17 women, I'm trying to remember. Anyway, so having that perspective of being all of those things would bring a change, would bring a different viewpoint. And so I decided to run because I think that we need, this changing demographics need to have representation.
Great, great. And in interest of full disclosure, I think I donated to your campaign?
Yes.
Okay, so I forget, but I have to disclose that fact. But I think you would be a remarkable voice for not only the segments you represent, but quite frankly, you're an incredible person.
Thank you.
So what are you hearing out on the doors there as you're knocking? What are people concerned with the most?
Well, the doors have been really positive. I specifically went out at the polls during the primary to introduce myself since I'm not very well known. The one thing that I did do after I retired from the military is that I championed the finished implementation of full-day kindergarten in Fairfax County. When we had 29 schools out of 130 that did not have full-day kindergarten, and my kids' kindergarten or elementary school did not have a full-day kindergarten, I felt it was important.
What year was this?
That was 2011.
Wow.
And
recently.
Yes, and that was, I went to the school board, and the school board said there just isn't any funding, and I said, well, nobody's talking about it. And what we need to do is talk about it. And eventually the funding will come. And after I started talking with parents at the playground about full-day kindergarten, how important it is for our children, they were in agreement, and we started with our school, and then it was Fairfax for full-day kindergarten, and it just blossomed from there. And we got a lot of PTA groups and parents together, and we talked with the school board, and they thought, yes, we need to do this.
I have some friends and family in Loudon I want to hook you up with.
Yes, absolutely.
That sounds like a great...
Absolutely.
So, so you're hearing things on the doors.
Yes.
What sort of positive, negative? I mean, what are people feeling out there? I mean, what are they like? What are they just like?
Yeah, everybody is very positive. There seems to be a thought process that we do definitely need better representation. The incumbent has voted for some bills that were anti-women, and that was the transvaginal bill, which is obviously something that's very important that we need
So for the
to-
people that don't know, it was a mandatory procedure that was completely unnecessary.
completely unnecessary, medically unnecessary.
Yeah. I think Janet Howell, for the folks at home, look up the counter proposal where Senator Janet Howell proposed men get a probe to make sure
and make sure they were medically
right,
fit
right.
to have, yeah.
That was voted down, by the way.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, look, people vote on some crazy things. I'm
Yes.
not really sure why they're so.
Yes.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah. I do want to talk a little bit about my history.
Sure.
One of the things that I have really talked about at the doors is that my persistence and my tenacity. My father was an undocumented worker for many years before he met my mother. And when I enlisted without having any technical school, and I got a Naval Scholarship, and I got commissioned. And my very first job as a commissioned officer, I drove into the same valley that my father picked as an undocumented worker 30 years prior.
Wow.
And it was incredible to me that his American dream that he had, which he did become naturalized, was realized by myself as I was driving into that valley as a lieutenant. Yes,
That's awesome.
It was incredible, and
Wow.
yes.
Amazing. That's what I love about this country.
Absolutely. And that's the things that we need to do. We need to focus on those kinds of American dream and the policies to make that possible.
You're first generation?
Yes.
That makes a huge difference.
Yes.
It really does. I'm a first generation as well. And I can tell you, it was always about what an awesome country this is.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was just every day, parents would say, what an awesome country and what an incredible opportunity you have.
Absolutely.
Get off your butt, go make something of yourself.
That's right. And that was my dad. He wanted to be an American.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted to be. And he worked hard, and he had a small business. Both my parents had a small business, and they lifted themselves up. And it was an incredible American story.
You think, looking back, you think that's kind of what drove you to serve?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I was taught with a patriotic background that my dad and my mother was a Rosie the Riveter in World War II, and she was a little bit older when she had me, but I was always told, you know, the opportunity is there. You just have to take it. And I have taken those opportunities, and I've worked hard, and I buckled down, and I was successful. And I think if you do that, you can be successful too. But we have to make sure we keep the policies there that make that possible.
Sure. Not slamming the doors on opportunities.
Absolutely. We need to reach back and pull people through the door.
Amen. What are some of the things you want to champion when you get down to Richmond?
Well, one of the biggest things for me is women's rights, obviously. A women's right to choose is making sure that that woman has the opportunity to guide whichever her life path is.
So you don't want to deny women birth control?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
That's incredibly not right.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that our voter rights are preserved. We have to make sure that the elderly, the young, that we make it easier to vote rather than more difficult. Those are very important things.
Yeah, there seems to be, and again, I've delved into this issue, there seems to be a fear that there's a lot of voter fraud going on. I've looked, I've researched, I've asked people to come on and talk.
Yes.
There isn't any
No.
that we can find. There is fraud for registering. There are some knuckleheads that go and register like Donald Mouse and Mickey Duck.
Right.
If they're getting paid.
Right.
But those characters never show up at the polls.
Sure.
So to me, there's a distinction between registration shenanigans
Right.
and someone trying to go to the polls.
Right.
And we're making it harder for people at the polls when in reality, there isn't, this widespread voter fraud going on.
Exactly.
And if there is, you should get 100 years in jail. I mean, quite frankly, it's a felony, and I throw the book at those people. I think that it's incredibly destructive to our democracy.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of some of the platform messages, what do you think the biggest distinction or differentiator? We talked a little bit about, I mean, you're out there knocking on doors, you're hearing, what are some of the people that you talk to? Have they voted before? Have they not voted? Are they getting engaged? I mean, what's the type of voter? What are they kind of giving you as far as feedback?
One of the things that is very interesting about the district is that we have a delegate that's a Republican. Mm-hmm. The district had voted in the governor, lieutenant governor, and the AG. And for President Obama. So the voters are there, the Democratic voters. When I talk about my platform, my history, most of the people, the Democrats that I talk with, are very positive about having somebody that is so different from what the current incumbent is. And having a woman Hispanic veteran is definitely going to give a different perspective. Sure. And the voters are very, very positive about that. They are looking forward to this race.
Now, are you just focusing on Democrats, or are you going to maybe the independents, identified some lean Republicans? Or?
Well, that's a campaign secret. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, I'm hoping that...
I think you have a wonderful story, by the way. I think any American would be impressed with your background.
Right. Supporting veterans is a big issue for me, making sure that the VA takes care of our disabled veterans. We're making sure that the medical is available, that the information is passed out, and so for veterans, I think it's important to have another veteran in the house, and where that's something that we are really lacking, is having anybody that has that kind of experience. Having been in the Gulf during the Iraq and the Afghanistan wars is definitely a very rare commodity. We do have several candidates that are running that are similar to me that do have that experience, so I think that if we can get us all in there with that experience, then we're going to have a difference.
And you would be the second Latino.
Mm-hmm.
In the, wow. Well, we need to get you in there.
Yes, we do.
Joanne, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Glad to have you on. Hopefully we get you back later on as your campaign progresses.
Anytime.
Folks, and that wraps us up this evening, and thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next week.